I'm makeup free and it's first thing in the morning, so go ahead and get yourself a cup of something. So I'm drinking Earl Grey tea with honey and whole milk. Reflections of an INFJ on a lifetime of narcissistic abuse. First of all, what is an INFJ? On the Myers-Briggs test, I scored that, taking the test several times. And I did not actually know that's what I was, because for years I have a false persona of a bubbly, happy person who is an extrovert. That is due to my having been raised by a pathologically narcissistic mother. Now, I did not discover this until the summer of August, month of 2022. I had been broken up on purpose. I had left an abusive, narcissistic male partner, that I had a tipsy-toffee, not even a roller coaster ride, but like a terror, almost dying a couple of times, almost being killed a couple of times, brutally raped, also insulted, raped in the ass, and I didn't even do anal sex, just force. I'm 128, 130. He was 225. People, I always wondered, how can rape happen? How can a man actually force himself on you? Because all they have to do is pin you down and use their very strong legs to force your legs open after tearing off your clothes. Okay? It's not that difficult. That's how rape happens. They get on, they get off, and they leave. And you're disassociated. I disassociated quite often. Now, I realized that I also had trauma, amnesia from my childhood. Now, first of all, what makes an INFJ perhaps able to better survive narcissistic abuse from a pathologically narcissistic mother who, number one, ridicules the child's physical appearance. Number two, ridicules the child's personality traits. Number three, listens to not ever what the child has to say. The child, me, disregarded. The television set took precedent. I was shushed constantly. And as an adult, subsequently, I have, ever since I was free from that hell, I never had a television set. I recognized that it was programming. And I recognized that anyone who listened to it, back in the avian flu days, when I knew it was just a joke, because I was hiking, I was in the nature, you receive information from nature. If you have a pathologically narcissistic mother, she will fill your head with garbage if you listen. Somehow I was sent to my room so often, I found God in the closet. It's been said, the devil herself led me to God. This is a non-biblical God. This God felt like a loving presence. It felt like more than one. Maybe it was mother or father. Maybe it was guides. Maybe it was angels. But they were all of the light. And they let me know that I was loved. But as a young child, I really wanted the love of my mother. One day, when I was 5, out of the blue, I told her that I loved her. And I went to her and said that to her. I was admonished and sent to my room because she said, I must have done something wrong. You don't just come up and say, I love you, unless you have done something that you do not want me to find out. What is it, Kathy? So that was my warm and fuzzy mother, who told me how loving she was, but never showed it. Now I hope you stick with me through my healing journey as I complete a manuscript, and I'm not sure what it will be called, but it is one of many to come. Because one thing I know for sure is that the beauty of a child, the beauty of a pure soul, such as I have, that is unrecognized or even shunned by another being, can only be for one reason: that they themselves do not love themselves. And that's what I came to realize. That my monster of a birth mother, who's still alive and doing damage at 87, did not love herself, and her feelings of self-hatred were then projected onto her children. I'm the youngest of 4. My brother was the son. She engaged in emotional incest with him, which is, she almost gushed sexually. He was a very successful athlete, very attractive young man, and well liked by his peers, and very attractive to the ladies, of course, the young women. And somehow she took on those traits. One of the things that a narcissist does is they take on the character traits of those around them that they wish to have. They look for supply. They look for residual benefits. The residual benefits of having 4 children and bending and warping their minds to think you're the most wonderful mother that ever could walk the planet is a technique that's disastrous for the children of a narcissistic mother in particular. Because not only was she the mother, she was the stay-at-home mother. If it hadn't been for my particular set of talents, artistic, athletic, intelligent, well liked by my peers, I would have probably died. If I had been born in a city, if I had not had a support system in my small town, I'm sure I would have become a drug addict and be long gone, because they will destroy your ego. And so while most people find home growing up to be the nurturing safe haven, home to me was a battlefield. Now, what makes a narcissist mother's children messed up? We never learn to actually get to explore things we are interested in. You're directed to what is most convenient to the narc mother. You're directed to whatever serves her ego. I was excelled in ballet. I had the perfect body for it. I became a stripper later. And I became, before that, I was in the Peep Show. It's all in my books. But for me, it wasn't because I was degraded. And I was in the Peep Show not because I was doing the jobs, although there were dancers there doing blow jobs and head jobs, and some of them even having sex. I specialized in phone sex because I was very beautiful, although I didn't know it and I didn't believe I was. I also didn't believe I could dance. So I did phone sex and posed. Basically, in a Peep Show, a man pays you $20 and 3 minutes later he's climaxed, and you spread your lips, your female parts, and he looks at them, but there's no touching because there's a plexiglass between you. And I am a truth teller, not a fabricator. There were girls doing the jobs, but I didn't have to. I didn't make as much money as them, but I went home without having to feel disgusting. It was a dichotomous life, and I did not believe I could dance on the stage. I was too insecure because I was told I wasn't attractive. I was told I had ugly legs my entire childhood. So I was in the peep show booth, and a fetish guy wanted me to take off my shoes so he could see my toes. Then he wanted me to take off my leg warmers so he could see my ankles. And he told me how beautiful my ankles were. And I still didn't believe him because he's a foot fetish guy. So I'm like, yeah, right, sure. So after a diabolical experience of going with another dancer to do a bachelor party gone awry, I gave that up and mustered up the willpower, because I had to, under the circumstances, which are detailed in the book. I didn't get raped. It was an attempted accost on our physical bodies by these guys that were all coked out, but we managed to escape. But my costumes and bag of dildos, which were only 3, I used 3, were all thrown into the swimming pool. And I could see by the light that there was my shining golden bullet down there. And I was like, this is a sign. This is a sign for me to find another career path if I'm going to be in this adult entertainment industry. So I auditioned and became a dancer. Now, I had the trappings of a good childhood. My mother gave us the trappings. She took us here, she took us there. It was all for her convenience. I was lumped into all the activities my older sister did. And then, again, I had to take it or leave it, because beggars can't be choosers. Oh, be grateful. I wanted to take ballet. Gymnastics is free. It's after school. I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be doing that. I have a life to lead. You kids have, you had enough. You're going to go after school. Okay. It's free. I'll go to gymnastics. I won't take ballet after having 2 years of training and being the perfect body type. 5'6" is my maximum height that I eventually came to. It grew to 5'6 1/4", 5'6 1/2" with yoga. Actually, I was 5'6 1/4", and it grew to another ½ inch. But anyway, I haven't measured myself lately. However, this is the point. I excelled. Another girl that was older than me and I were friends, and her mother was a prima ballerina, and she did my makeup. The prima ballerina, retired, of course, had her 2 children, and she did my makeup for the recital, and it was so beautiful. She said to my sister, "Look, isn't she beautiful?" And my sister sneered. And when I danced, it was obvious that I had more talent and more physique. And what then could my mother do? And take me out of it and lump me in with my older sister, because I could not outshine the golden child. Now, my older sister, I told you I had the brother who was emotionally, she created emotional incest. She was way too interested in his sex life. She would sneak home. She snuck home and caught him. She didn't just drive home. She snuck in and discovered him. That's revolting. She snuck and watched me when I was kissing my boyfriend in high school, subsequently years later from the ballet incident, and then degrades me the next day, telling me how coy I am. She doesn't give me any lessons or pointers and maybe make sure you know who he is. No. I'm degraded. Coy? I've never been kissed before. I'm on the couch. I adore this boy. I don't even know how to talk to one. Why? Because my pathologically narcissistic mother would not let my father have a relationship with me. She would not let our father have a relationship with any of us. She and only she controlled all going ons in that family. And to this day, my father turned 92. I visited in August. My father, my sister, blah. That monster that birthed me and only nursed me for 5 weeks because of her selfishness. I know because in a baby book, one line in the baby book, besides my birth time and weight, one line, I nursed for 5 weeks. To this day, she will not let you have an honest conversation. And because he's so beaten down and does not want to get yelled at and punished, he became ball-busted and pussy-whipped. And of course, she parentified me, and I'm in high school, and he's in his 50s, and I'm in high school, and she's complaining to me that my father can't get an erection. That's called parentification. You do not tell the daughter of the man you married, you fucking wench, that he can't get a woody anymore. And, oh, I will not put that thing into my mouth. It's disgusting. It's like, okay. Well, at least manually, she didn't tell me any of that. I didn't give her that advice. But later, basically, your mother said anything to you, you just listened. An opinion that you would possibly have, you'd get thrown into your face. You would be assaulted. She would come at you like a feverish demon with saliva spitting out of her mouth. If you said anything contrary to what she was telling you was true. Now I'm the youngest, so I went from being the invisible child, which was, my accomplishments didn't really matter because Corky was always better. So my sister, who's older than me by 11 months, she was the fastest runner in her class. I was the fastest runner in my class. But her records were always faster by 3 fractions of a second. So therefore, even though I won all these blue ribbons, it didn't amount to Corky's accomplishments. So I never really developed a sense of my own identity. I never really developed a sense of my own accomplishments. I never really realized how great they were. I was recognized as highly artistic by my teachers. I was given the assignment of creating book covers for the class magazines that were done and then Xerox copies. And I look back at it now, and now I'm going through the grieving process. Because how did this all happen? Because I finally became unattached to that narcissistic, pathological male in Virginia who I left after 11 years of hell. Now living with him, not living with him. Living with him, not living with him. Being with him, not being with him. And if you want to know why, it's because I was addicted. It's called the trauma jag. All of the arousal and trauma bonding is the arousal jag, trauma bonding with the adrenaline rush and the denial and conditional loving, then followed by the loving that you get addicted to as the child of a pathologically narcissistic mother, who then goes on to be attracted to pathologically narcissistic men. First 1, then 2, then 3. Each one was different than the last. The first one was the lesser. He was the poor me. He was the one that everybody gets it, but I don't. I've been given a bad hand in life. And then he was always angry. My happiness was his disappointment. I raised 2 kids. I was not allowed out of that house. I snapped after 3 years. I finally left the house and went hiking and left him with the 2 little kids that were under 4 years old and just said, I need a day. And I took 3 hours out of my day and just went to the woods and just sat there in catatonic state, breathing. And I came back And after all of his criticism from coming home from work and saying, "Why isn't this house clean?" And I said to him, "What would you rather have? Happy children or a clean house? You can't have both." Damaged goods, that one. But he was the lesser, but still, he was not giving us the time of day. Every Saturday, he just wanted to sleep in. He just wanted to drink his coffee and read his newspaper because he worked all day and I don't work. All I get to do, you stay home. You just stay home. I wish I could just stay home. That's what I got. Yes. So I divorced it. And what did I do? Into the frying pan. Out of the frying pan, into the fire. Narc husband number 2. He was the arrogant one. I was attracted to his mind. He was able to have deep conversations. Husband number 1 was attracted to me by my character traits: happiness, joy, insight, intelligence, creativity. And then he subsequently hated all of them because he could never have them. He didn't want me to have them either. And the thing is, they do showy displays of affection, like giving you birthday parties. But I have a song, "Our love's in pictures for anyone to see. Why don't you love me privately? Our love's in pictures hanging on the wall. But behind closed doors, there's very little love at all." You know? I want you to love me the way you did when we first met and you held my hand and then you said that you'd never, ever, ever let me go. That's a narcissist, and it's love bombing. So the male narcissist love bombs the love-starved female of a child narcissist, of a mother who's pathologically narcissistic. We're love-starved. That's why we're vulnerable. We're love-starved. And when we finally get the love, we can't believe it. Well, don't believe it. They can't last more than a month without snapping. And the signs were all there. I wanted to get rid of them, and I ended up pregnant and then married, and then that was that. But out of the frying pan into the fire, husband number 2, arrogant, intelligent, but then, and he was a very good stepfather, and my main objective with husband number 1 was, I'm going to leave you so that you finally raise your kids too, which he did. Number 2, I would love to have my children learn negotiation skills. I would love my children to learn how to have a conversation beyond what's for dinner. All right? And then he tortured me and tormented me, and then I left him, but I went out of the frying pan into the fire, into hell. And the last one was the biggest hell of all. But I got away. So this October 2022 is my physical first year anniversary. But I consider December 21st, 22nd, this winter solstice, when the light comes back into the planet, the anniversary. So this December 2022, I will be celebrating my first year anniversary narc-free. And every year after that. So the narc mother opened up. I didn't know she was until I went for this visit. And after doing all of the work on myself, after studying the signs of narcissism, of what pathological narcissism really is, because it does a number on your head, you doubt yourself. And if you're doubting, was my mother pathologically narcissist? Am a pathologically narcissistic person? If they create calamity over nothing, yes. If you're having a great day and you're really happy, but they create an endless loop argument over nothing, yes. If you're just fine, but they insult you, yes. If they call you anything other than your name, like fucking bitch, stupid bitch, crazy bitch, good for nothing, you're never gonna amount to anything, Kathleen. You'll never amount to anything, Kathleen. Oh, yes, I will. And I have. I've amounted to a loving human being who has 2 offspring And I happen to have a very loving son, daughter-in-law, and granddaughter. And I only have one thing to thank for that. And it's God, my mother, father God, the natural planet, and my creator. All for now, folks. Best wishes to you in your healing journey.